Well, what do you got there, Jess?
I have a broken tube.
So, why is it broken?
Um, as I was inflating my tire this morning to go on a ride, I think I pulled the nozzle or the whatever you call the thing at the end of the pump.
So, maybe the chuck?
Yes, the chuck. Let's say it's the chuck. I think I pulled it off at an angle and I bent this valve thing. So once I did that, all the air came gushing out, and I had to change my tube, and I was just gonna go throw this away.
Right. Well, and the thing was that you were about to go for a ride.
Yeah, yeah. Instead of planning and doing it the night before, I waited till the morning of.
Well, no. I mean, we normally air up the morning of, so that's not a big deal. But I guess what I'm saying is it was an inconvenience to you because, getting ready to go, you're all dressed, you're all ready, and now you got to change a tube.
Yep, it always happens right before a ride.
Yeah.
So I thought about calling you for a second to see if you could come do
So
it.
what I want to show you is that, and actually when you texted me, I said, hey, you know what? We can fix that.
Oh,
So-
right. You said don't throw it away.
Yeah.
I can fix that. And I said, really?
So let's see if we can rotate that just a little bit so we can show everyone. Let me see. There it is, right there. Leave it right there. So that right there is called a wrench flat, right there. And so that wrench flat is going to come in handy because guess what? You don't have to throw that tube away.
Wait, is it called a wrench flat because it's not like a pinch flat and it's
No.
like a thumbnail going in there?
No, wrench flat as in a flat part to put a wrench on it. Okay? Okay. So what I want you to do is look down here, please. And right there, that's what's called a wrench flat.
Oh,
So not a flat that you got a flat tire.
it's like a flat surface.
It's a flat part.
It's a flat part on an otherwise
So the other part
round.
is round, and then
Okay.
that's flat again, right?
Right, yep.
Okay, so here's what I want to show you. That valve core, or that's called a valve core, this whole thing is called the valve stem, but this little part here is called a valve core. And you see this little tool here?
I see it.
Yeah, that little box has corresponding straight wrench portions, and we're going to put that in there like that. And what's the old saying? Lefty loosey,
Righty tighty.
righty tighty. So now we lefty loosey, and we can take that valve core out.
Voila.
Okay, so now that valve core is out.
That's the bad one.
Yeah. But before we fix this, I want to show the rest of the audience a few things. You can buy these valves separately, these valve cores separately because, and especially if you're riding tubeless. If you're riding tubeless, you'll know that these valve cores, they get clogged up inside here with sealant. And then it's just very hard for you to air up your tire.
How
So-
much do you think that little bag cost, and how many are in there?
Well, this particular bag I purchased had 10 of them, and because I work in a wholesale pricing, I can't remember. But even if you don't get 10 of these, and you don't get 5 of them or whatever, if you have a tube sitting at home, you'll want to look for a tube that has an image like this on the side. So that is showing you that this valve stem has a removable valve core. Okay? And if that image doesn't make sense to you, then you can read it right on the box. It says removable Presta valve. Okay? So this kind of thing, generally for longer stem valves or tubes, See, this one right here is 80 millimeters. So normally an 80 or 60 mil, but even 48 mil will usually have a removable valve core. Then you're wondering, well, where did you get that little tool? I've never seen that anywhere.
I was wondering that.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times it'll come like this. It'll come with your valve extender, and it'll come in with it as a kit. Okay, so now we've talked about the bent valve. This is a good one, valve core. We've talked about the tool that you can use. This is another tool. I use this one in the shop because it's made out of metal, and it gives me a full hand grab on it. And then we talked about the tube having this. So now what I want to show you is how to fix your own tube the next time that this happens to you. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do this because it isn't that hard as long as someone has taught you how to do it, right? Okay, so let's imagine two different scenarios. The first is you have spare valves because maybe you run tubeless and you have spare valves, okay? And you would take that valve and you would put it on your tube.
And you just screw it right in?
And you just screw it right in, okay?
Do you have to like torque it to a certain torque value? Or
Well,
anything?
fairly tight, because remember when we were doing Saturday's ride, I think
it was loose.
your rear tire was loose.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, that might have just been like the predictor of what happened
of some
this
issues,
morning.
yeah. So now just tighten that up there.
Okay. Oh wait, righty tighty.
Yeah, and you got to find the wrench flats. That's the key to all of this. Now keep in mind,
there.
audience, the reason we're doing this is because this tube that's in her hand now is supposed to be still inside the tire, still on the bike. So what we're trying to do is save time.
Okay, stupid
Righty-tighty.
question. I know, but you have to be oriented like the right way, right?
It's righty-tighty. It doesn't, yeah. So twist it and then turn it towards me.
But I have to have it like this is my right and this is my left. So I have to have it like this way?
Just start turning it. And one way will be loose and the other way will be tight.
Okay.
Don't overthink it. Just turn.
Oh, it's getting tighter.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, so now we've done that. Okay? So that came from your spare valves. All right, now let's take that valve back out. No.
Okay, use the thing.
Yes,
What is
please.
this called?
That's called a valve core removal tool.
Okay, I will use the valve core removal tool.
There you go. And if you don't have a valve core removal tool while she's doing that, sometimes a small crescent wrench like this, sometimes a set of pliers might work. Okay, so let's just say in this scenario she does not have any spare valves. But as any good cyclist that's prepared, they'll always have
a drawer full of spare tubes.
a drawer full of spare tubes. Okay, so let's now take that valve core out of that tube.
Using the valve core removal tool.
There you go, valve core
Fine.
removal tool.
The wrench flats right there. Okay.
And then,
And that goes on like that.
yep, and then left.
And the other left. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so now you take that guy out.
All right.
And then remember that this tube, we're simulating that this tube is still installed in the bike on the tire, or in the tire on the bike. Okay? And then
Okay.
just put that guy on there. Now, unfortunately, these bent valves, this kind of stuff happens. It happens when you don't install the chuck properly, or sometimes you're on the road and you're using a frame pump. So that does happen, and it's unfortunate, and it sometimes ruins the very start of your ride. A lot of times I've seen where the chuck has ripped this thing out of there. Okay, that's it. Now you open it up and you air it up. Now
All right.
here's the crazy thing about this. Unfortunately, we have to have this valve all the way out for us to be able to put air in it. But when the valve is completely unthreaded or loosened like this, unfortunately, this is when it's in its weakest position, because look how thin that little piece of metal is. And it makes, let's see, can we get it to focus? Yeah, there it is. And it's just so fragile, but that's how this valve was created. Okay, so what do you think? Can you do it next time by yourself?
Oh, yeah, I think so, as long as I have one of these. I don't have one at home.
Yeah,
so.
that one is yours now.
Oh, great.
It's an extra one now.
Maybe I should carry it in my flat kit.
You should have it in your flat kit, because there are going to be other riders that do not have one, and you may need to help another rider with either a valve core issue or something to that effect.
Yes, I bet that would make me Mrs. Popular.
Yes. Okay, so what we did is we went through a couple of scenarios. One, you have spare valves sitting around. Maybe you run tubeless, so you have those always hanging around. Two, you take it off of a tube that's already in your flat kit, so that valve core can be removed. We went through a couple of the tools that you could use. The easiest and smallest thing to carry inside your flat kit is one of these. And then you also may have something like this if you're a home mechanic. But if you don't, maybe you use one of these or a pair of needle nose, and you get the valve core out, put it into the tube that's already in the bike or whatever, especially if you're running tubeless. So anyway, I appreciate your time and your attention. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you up the road.